Hi, everybody. Peter Greenberg here, back with part 2 of answering all your emails that I asked you to send to me with your problems and questions. Again, my email address is peter@petergreenberg.com. I've got a lot to get through here, so let's do that. Here's one from Annie Lucas who writes, I watched your last post. I've heard that all airlines in the Sabre system shut down agents' ability to process refunds on Friday, March 20th. Well, here's the problem. Everybody's desperate to hold on to cash. They're not going to make it easy for the agents or for you to get it back. That doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a real problem. And it started way before the coronavirus. You know that. There's something else called holdbacks. What a holdback is the process of when I make my reservation online or with a travel agent or with anybody, and I use a credit card for payment. That credit card company, whether it's American Express, Discover, MasterCard, Visa, whatever, they take that payment, deduct their commission, this is in principle, and then forward the bulk of that payment to the travel provider, the airline, the hotel, the cruise line, the resort, whatever. Well, what happens if that credit card issuer thinks that that travel provider is not on great financial ground right now? Well, most of us book everything in advance. So let's say I book a ticket to go from New York to Los Angeles on May 15th, and I pay today. That credit card issuer might not send that money to the travel provider, and they may hold back and claim to that travel provider that they're not going to pay that money until my flight on May 15th actually takes off. You know what that does to the cash flow of that travel provider? It cripples them and creates a problem in which many of them can't sustain it. They go out of business. Look at Thomas Cook when they went out of business in the United Kingdom. Look at Flybe, which just went out of business about 2.5 weeks ago. When they went out of business, the holdback number that they weren't getting from the credit card issuers was more than $50 million. We need to look into that. But at some point in the game, the person who should not be left holding the bag is you. So remember, if you're booking, always book with a credit card, because if they go out of business and you didn't book with a credit card, you have no standing. Remember, under federal credit laws, if you book a good or service and you don't get it, your rights are protected, especially if you do it within 60 days of the initial purchase. Here's one from Toby Sachin, who writes, I booked an Alaska cruise last October for my family of 8 adults and 5 children on Celebrity. We live in Denver. We were scheduled to leave June 28th, 2020. On March 19th, I canceled the bookings. Celebrity has an awesome policy because of coronavirus, and they refunded my entire deposit. All right, let's hear it for Celebrity. I did not yet pay the balance. It would have been due on March 30th. Had I paid the entire amount, I would have had the opportunity to cancel up to 2 days prior to sailing and receive cruise credit through December 31st of 2021. I thought this showed understanding and generosity on the part of Celebrity. The problem he's having is that in November 2019, he also booked about $6,000 worth of Air Canada air tickets to get to that city in Canada. And Air Canada's normal policy is to issue a credit that will be good for travel for a year from the booking date. In my case, that would have been November 2020. Their updated coronavirus policy says that credit will be good for travel through just December 31st of this year. So they essentially would give me 1 extra month. Okay, good for you. Priceline claims that they have to abide by Air Canada's position on refunds and credit. I have not canceled any flights yet in hopes that the policy may improve. You have time here, and that policy may improve. Once again, send me to peter@petergreenberg.com. All the particulars here with all the details, confirmation numbers, who you spoke to, their first and last name, their favorite color, their first sexual experience in high school. No, you get the deal. All right? I need details. Here's Linda Brown. She says, I saw your video from Friday. This is a very interesting one. My son works for Avis at airport locations. He's 28 years old and just got promoted to an airport manager and is being transferred from his current location in Ontario, California to San Jose, California. He is planning on moving his family up there next weekend and renting a home. I am concerned that within the next week or so, he'll be laid off. He, like others his age, believes he's invincible, don't we all? And this is not going to happen. Do you have any thoughts? Well, think about this. If the airlines, and by the way, I have no crystal ball here, but I'm just basing this on common sense. If the airlines have cut back their entire domestic service, if hotels are basically closing down and rooms are being scarce, what's going to happen? It's domestic travel. People will drive to these locations. They won't fly. And they'll need a car. And they'll need a rental car. And when business comes back, they're going to need more rental cars. So if I were gambling here, and let's face it, we're rolling the dice, all of us, I'd say he's probably going to still have his job. It may be tough for a while, but the rental car companies are going to be strong just for local traffic alone, not to mention business travel. That would be my guess. Here's one from William Heller in Junction City, Oregon. I bought 2 tickets round trip to London from Seattle for nearly $2,000 and a hotel in London for about $3,200 back in December. And he bought a $5,000 insurance policy from one of the travel providers. Since these purchases were all done before the virus showed up, am I still covered? I hope I've given you enough information. Well, there's only going to be one way to find out. First of all, I have to ask the bad question. Did you ever read the policy language? I know, it's hieroglyphics. I know. But somebody has to interpret them for you before you ever buy before you ever buy the insurance. Sorry for that. Remember this. When you're buying travel insurance online, you can't even complete your airline transaction unless you opt in or out of the travel insurance question. Yes or no. But they don't tell you what you're not covered for. That's on page 28 of the website, and none of us ever get there. So my advice is, even if you want to buy travel insurance, never buy it from the travel provider themselves, and especially don't buy it online. Go through a travel agent or a travel advisor. Have them interpret the policy language for you as to what you're covered for, but more importantly, what you're not covered for. And the way travel insurance policies are written, it's like a fire insurance policy. You can't get fire insurance after the second floor catches fire. Almost every travel insurance policy I know now has an exclusion in their language right now for pandemic. So if you canceled before the World Health Organization announced it was a pandemic, you might have standing. If not, I would wait for the either hotel or airline policies to change so you get a full refund without the insurance, not another voucher. Let me know what happens. All right? Here's one from Lori Fallon, who talks about TAP or Portugal again and how they're not going to give her money back. Again, Lori, write me to peter@petergreenberg.com with all the details. I will get into it. Now, the real problem here, I have email after email after email with the exact same problem. And by the way, this doesn't mean the lesson that we learn here is to buy travel insurance, especially if the insurance you're buying has language policy in there that makes it worthless. Why would you do that? So here's the deal. You've got to read the policy language. There's a website, by the way, called insuremytrip.com that can actually interpret the hieroglyphics for you, because it's more than just whether or not there's a pandemic. They may have a reason in there for pre-existing medical condition for you, or age, or all sorts of things that will not allow you to cancel the trip without a penalty. All right? So, and that's regardless of coronavirus. You need to know that. All right. Here's one. I just listened to your latest podcast. My husband and I are scheduled to sail. Oh, this is from, Mindy Green in Boulder, Colorado. My husband and I are scheduled to sail on Cunard to Norway from London in July. Our last payment is due and we're about to send it, but not sure we can count on a full refund if they cancel the travel. Well, who are you sending the payment to? To a travel agent, or did you book this through Cunard directly? Whoever you book this through, pick up the phone, call them, have them confirm that your rights are protected if you pay the last payment now, should you want to cancel before July. And if they cancel before July, that you're also equally protected in getting a full refund. And then once you have that conversation with them, you know what? Get their full name, get their email address, and send them a confirming email, which does what? Confirms the confirmation you just had, list your reservation number and all the details, so that there's a paper trail here, so nobody can hide behind anything else when and if that day ever comes when you want that refund. Okay? I'm holding a round-trip ticket on Norwegian from LAX to Madrid that I booked on February 11th. The flights have not yet been canceled, although that may happen eventually. My ticket is non-refundable, but their stated policy this time is that if Norwegian cancels, I can apply for a refund. Well, guess what? Norwegian's canceled. Apply for the refund. Okay? I'll be back tomorrow with more of your emails. Remember, it's peter@petergreenberg.com. Get me all the details you can. Tomorrow, I'll post another video answering all the questions you have that deal with refunds or anything else. Hang in there, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.